Right, what's up, Dragon Brood? We're on day 4 of Final Fantasy previews, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of stuff here, but not a ton of rares and mythics. So we'll hit all the rares and mythics, we'll see kind of what stands out from the uncommons and commons, but let's talk about some cards. Starting with Choco Seeker of Paradise. It's 1 green, white, blue, so 4 mana for a 3/4 whenever one or more birds you control attack. Look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put one of them into your hand, put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest into your graveyard. It also has landfall that whenever a land you control enters, this card gets +1/+0 until end of turn. There's a lot going on with this card, actually. It's 4 mana for 3/5, which is meh, but you can immediately attack, possibly get some number of lands off the top, put one of those cards into your hand. There's a lot of value to be had here on this card, and very likely you're attacking with a 4/5 the first time you attack with it. And more importantly, we're seeing more birds, mostly chocobos, but still birds nonetheless, in this set that are going to trigger some of the other cards that care about birds. So this could be a pretty integral card if you are trying to build the bird deck. This is an interesting 1 mana creature here. Freya Crescent is a red for a 1/1 rat knight. During your turn, Freya Crescent has flying. You can tap to add 1 red, spend this mana only to cast equipment spells or activate an equip ability. So yeah, if you're playing the equipment deck, probably red or red-white, like this is definitely a card you're going to want to play. I guess technically some could be blue, but realistically, probably red or red-white. This is going to be a key card to those decks, being able to ramp you up, and the mana can only be spent on equipment effectively, so there are some limitations to it, but I think it is still a very playable card in those lists. Summon Leviathan, 4 blue for a 6/6. Return each creature that isn't a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent to its owner's hand. Wow. So you get a 6/6 and you're bouncing everything else off the battlefield. Until end of turn, whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent attacks, you draw a card, and that's for both of the chapters 2 and 3. It does also have Ward 2, by the way, so it's going to be kind of hard for your opponents to remove. This card is something else. I don't know if we can build around this to say maybe play a Merfolk deck with Leviathan as the upper end. That could be possible. Something that just ramps up to Leviathans, and maybe you don't have a lot of other things that you're bouncing anyway, and you're just getting the extra card value. I don't really know, but I could see this card getting played in a variety of decks. Probably not more than a 2 of, but could be a part of some other strategies. Moguls Valor, 3 white, so 5 mana instant. For each creature you control, create a 1/2 white Mogul creature token with lifelink. Then creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. What? Okay. So at instant speed, let's say you're playing a token deck, you've got 3 creatures out, whatever, your opponent's in step. You pay 5, you get 3 1/2 Moogle creature tokens that have lifelink, and the creatures you have indestructible. This is very interesting. Wow, I don't even know what to think about this card, because technically it doesn't produce any tokens if you don't already have creatures. But it does still give stuff indestructible at instant speed, which could be valuable. I think this is a playable card. We just have to figure out where and how. But definitely not one I would just completely ignore. We have Vincent Valentine, 2 black, so a 4 mana 2/2. This better have a good ability. It's Assassin. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters on this card equal to that creature's power. When Valentine attacks, you may transform it. Okay, so that's already kind of interesting. That when something dies, you're not just getting a counter for the creature that died, you're getting a counter for that creature's power. So kind of justifies the 4 mana cost. But then it transforms into Galleon Beast, which is a 3/2. And by the way, you would keep your counters because the card does not leave the battlefield. Trample, lifelink. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped. Okay, well, when it dies, you get the front side back. So this is kind of cool, right? Now, admittedly, 4 mana for a 2/2 isn't a great price. But when you attack, you get a 3/2. And you're going to get some lifelink at a minimum if they block it to kill it, right? And then you just get a 2/2 back anyway. Because all you have to do is attack, and it transforms. So kind of interesting. I don't know how to feel about it. It's a werewolf beast on the back. It's an assassin on the front. I don't know if that matters for any particular decks. But it is an interesting idea that it attacks, it flips, you automatically have a 3/2, you get some lifelink. If it dies, you don't really lose a creature. You just get it back tapped. So, like, maybe there's a spot for a card like this. I mean, if you're playing some type of black deck or mid-rangey deck that cares about lifelink, it probably fits. But man, it's a peculiar card, but very interesting. Also today, there was some very interesting equipment. Item Shopkeep, 1 in a red for a 2/2 human citizen. Whenever you attack, target attacking equipped creature gains menace until end of turn. So just useful. I don't know if the equipment decks would want to play this, because you're going to have a lot of spots taken up either by creatures that benefit from equipment or the equipment themselves and some amount of removal. So may not be room for a card like this. However, this card just giving something menace every turn is kind of annoying. Yeah, this one I thought was kind of wild. It's Zidane Tantalus Thief. 3 red white. So 5 mana for a 3/3. When it enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. You untap it. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token. The reason I want to talk about this is generally we either get 3 mana, steal a creature till end of turn, maybe you get a small upside, or 5 mana, gain control of the creature and something crazy, sometimes attached to a creature. This is one of the better versions of that ability. Now, it is 5 mana, but you get a 3/3 at a minimum left over. You steal their creature, the creature gets haste and lifelink, so you get some amount of life back. And then when you give your opponent the creature back at the end of turn, you still get an extra treasure for no good reason. So yeah, this is probably going to be one of those surprise and sometimes game-winning cards in Limited because it's an uncommon, so it's going to show up pretty regularly. So something players have to be aware of. Would we play it in 60-card Magic? I don't know. Maybe in the sideboard of a few particular decks. I don't know if it'd make the main deck cut in anything. But it is something you'd have to be aware of as a possibility. But yeah, that was a quick and easy one today. Not a lot of cards got previewed on this day, Wednesday, the whatever, 14th. But I do think we're already starting to see more of the equipment decks come together. We're seeing some more stuff around the Moguls, which is pretty cool. Just a lot of little things that are starting to fill in a lot of gaps for different decks. A lot of playable cards that we're starting to see, like even for birds, right? There's a thing that makes those somewhat more playable now. So I think as we get through the rest of this week, we're going to see more of these pieces slot in. But I don't know what you're hyped about, but there's a lot to look forward to. But I'm going to go ahead and link one of the other videos for previews so you can get caught up if you missed it. Otherwise, it's all I have you for now. We'll see you next time.